Box, Max. Box, 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 box.
Why? Why? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck are you guys saying? Unbelievable, mate. I don't get it. What the fuck is this about?
We'll talk about it and explain once you're out, Max.
Let's turn this down. That's Singapore qualifying wrapped. Over. Lewis Hamilton was my favourite to get pole, didn't work out. I thought at certain points he was going to get it, but he didn't get it. Charles Leclerc got it. Congratulations to Charles Leclerc. He wrapped it, got pole. I think he's got more poles than anyone this year, I think. Yeah, but it's over. Charles Leclerc first, Sainz second, and third, Lewis Hamilton. So Lewis Hamilton's got a chance tomorrow to win this race. Actually, well, it was Charles first, second Perez, sorry, and third, Lewis Hamilton. So, Lewis Hamilton's got a very good chance tomorrow to win this race. Because you can't really rely on Perez. Let's turn this down a bit. You can't really rely on Perez to bag this race tomorrow. Not really. Can't really rely on Ferrari to bag this race tomorrow. But you can't really trust Ferrari's strategy. Not really. But that's qualifying over. Now, the biggest talk of the weekend, we know what it is. It's this cap from last season. The energy cap, not the energy cap, the money cap. The amount of money the teams can spend in one season. And yesterday, Christian Horner, he was very confident that it wasn't Red Bull. Very confident. 24 hours ago, he was saying, I got nothing to worry about. Red Bull's got nothing to worry about. As far as I know, he said, unquote, as far as I know, Red Bull haven't exceeded that cap at all. But today, 24 hours later, he's a different Christian Horner. Christian Horner today was on the defensive. He was saying, look, I want to know who leaked this information to the FIA. I want to know who leaked this information. I want to know if it was Mercedes. I want to know if it was McLaren. I want to know if it was Williams. I want to know if it was Ferrari. That's what he was saying today on Sky Sports F1. All red and sweaty. And then you had Helmut Marko was red as the Red Bull, not as red as the Ferrari car. Helmut Marko was. You had the chief guy, the boss of Red Bull. 51% ownership of Red Bull was there today. He was talking with Christian Horner. He was talking with Helmut Marko. It looked like they was having a deep conversation. You had Max Verstappen bitching on the radio because he didn't get pole. The guy got a yellow sector, a green sector, and he thinks he was going to get pole. That's the way the Sky Sports commentators was talking about, oh yeah, he missed out on pole. He wouldn't have got pole. He got a yellow sector and he got a green sector. He wouldn't have got pole unless he would have got the last sector would have been amazing. Which I doubt it, because for the entire weekend he was struggling in the last sector. Let's face it, Max Verstappen this weekend hasn't been the best Max Verstappen. It wasn't really convincing in practice 1. It wasn't really convincing in practice 2. Not at all. Practice 3 he got a little bit better, but it wasn't really convincing. It was always going to be Lewis Hamilton or Charles Leclerc to get pole. I was shocked at Perez being there. I never thought Perez was going to get in the top 3. Not at all. I never thought in my wildest dreams that Perez was going to get in the top 3. But he did. Now, another thing what really stood out for me was George Russell. Where was George Russell today? Why wasn't George Russell in Q3? I was flabbergasted when I never saw George Russell in Q3. He was even flabbergasted. He was getting interviewed by Natalie Pickman. And Natalie Pickman said, what happened? And he goes, look, it was my fault. George Russell said, it was my fault. My fault what happened today. He looked out of it. He looked like he just ran a marathon. He looked like he just ran London Marathon. The guy was exhausted. Listen, I know that Singapore is the most demanding race of the season. The race could potentially be 2 hours long. Maybe a little bit longer if you put in the safety cars. It's more demanding than Monaco. But I thought this guy's a world-class athlete. When you come into Formula 1 and you come into this race, everybody knows if you're a Formula 1 driver, the one that they train for, the endurance, you see him in the steam rooms running. You see Lando Norris in the steam room on his bike. You actually saw George Russell in the steam room on his bike, running up hills, mountains, just to prepare themselves for this race. But he looked out of it today. He looked like he needed water. He looked like he had a cold. He looked like he had a fever, George Russell. He was out of it. Maybe he has got a fever, I don't know. Maybe we're going to hear tomorrow morning that someone's going to replace George Russell for tomorrow's race. Because I saw their reserve driver today in the paddock talking with what's his name? Toto Wolff. What's his name? With Toto Wolff. Looked like they were talking for at least 10 minutes. I saw it on Ted's notebook. And maybe, because he did look well. When I saw him get interviewed, to be fair, George Russell, he didn't look well today. That was like during Ted's notebook. So, talking about Ted's notebook, he got chucked out today. Ted Kravitz got kicked out of the media room. If you're a fan of Ted Kravitz like me, I've been a big advocate for Ted Kravitz for a number of years. I think he's only one or maybe a couple more who's real. He tells it how it is. A true journalist. He doesn't care if he's liked or he doesn't care if he's hated. He will call it how it is. Like me. And this is probably why I gravitate towards Ted Kravitz. He was doing his Ted's notebook today. And he went in there like he always does. He's got Ginger Pirate Pete behind him. That's Ginger Pirate Pete. That's the guy who holds the camera. No offense to ginger people, by the way. I've got ginger people in my family, so I don't hate ginger people. Before you start spamming my chat. But anyway, he was in there today. Charles Leclerc was getting interviewed by one of the journalists. I think it was F1 Italy. They was interviewing Charles Leclerc about his pole. Everything was all honky-dory. You had Charles Leclerc smiling. And Ted came in, he had his cameraman come in, and all of a sudden this woman, which I don't even know who she is, I don't even know if she works there, she started tapping on Ted's shoulder and saying to Ted, Why are you not supposed to be here? And they said, I'm getting chucked out. And she goes, yeah. And she goes, bye-bye. And I thought to myself, what's going on? This is Ted Kravitz. Don't you know who Ted Kravitz is? Ted Kravitz is one of the best F1 journalists in history. And she's kicking him out the media room. But as far as I know, Ted is media. He's a journalist. So why is he not allowed there? But he got kicked out. I think that threw off Ted Kravitz a little bit. I think he was a little bit vexed after when he got kicked out. I know I was very shocked about that. Anyway, that was the thing about Ted Kravitz. Now, on to this, which I'm going to go back to now. On to this cost cap. Yesterday, they were saying I didn't know who was the person, who was the team, who's gone over the cost cap significantly. And people were saying it was probably, we don't know who it is. But today, the rumours are now that Red Bull are the team who's gone over the cost cap more than 5%. Now, if it is Red Bull, the rules state in the FIA rules, if the rules are implemented, which is in black and white on the F1 websites, there's no way out of this one, Red Bull, if it's you. They will get their points deducted, completely removed from the 2021 season. They will have a lower budget on the car for next season. They will be banned from 3 to 4 races, random races at the FIA's discretion. So basically they are screwed. Winter testing out the window, screwed. No upgrades to the aerodynamics, screwed. That's what's going to happen if it is Red Bull to be found guilty of this charge for exceeding the price, the cost cap. So you had McLaren coming out today saying, look, whoever has done it, every 2 teams that have done it, they should be punished. You had Ferrari coming out and saying the same thing. You had the Williams, basically all the teams except for AlphaTauri batting for Red Bull. So it's not like Abu Dhabi where they screwed Lewis Mokamasi. They screwed Lewis and they said, you know what? This is what happened and there's nothing Mercedes really could have done. Well, actually, they could have done, but they didn't. This is different. They've got most of the teams against them. And if they get found guilty, which most likely is going to happen, the FIA must implement the punishments to Red Bull. Because if they don't, what's the point of the FIA? What's the point? They need to implement the rules and the punishment for Max Verstappen and Red Bull. And that's very simple. There's no way out of this one. But that goes back to me yesterday when I was talking about it, when I put my conspiracy theory hat on. When Lewis got screwed in Abu Dhabi, Toto was the first one to come out and say, you know what? I'm going to take this to court. We're going to get this sorted. Within 24 hours later, Mercedes pulled out of the arbitration court. I was one of the first persons to go on Twitter. I was one of the first persons to make a video and say, why? Why would Mercedes pull out of the arbitration court when they knew they had it in their grasp? They had a QC on board with them. QC. The QC said to Mercedes, if you go all the way to the arbitration court, the arbitration court of sport, it's a wrap. You will get this decision overturned. But all of a sudden, Mercedes pulled out. Why? This is where I'm going to put my conspiracy theory hat on. You remember, when I done my video yesterday, I was talking about it. When Lewis Hamilton got screwed last season, got screwed out of the world title in 2021, Mercedes, Toto, he was the first one to come out and say, right, we're going to take this to the arbitration court if we have to. We're going to appeal it and we're going to get it overturned. And I thought, happy days, it's going to happen. Happy days. And then Mercedes had a QC on board. They had a QC lawyer there on board. And a legal advice from the QC, he said, if you take this all the way to the arbitration court, we will get this overturned. 99% we will get this decision overturned. in the arbitration court. Everything was all sweet. Everything was going, you know what? It's going to happen. Within 24 hours, 24 hours, Mercedes made a statement from Toto that said, you know what? We're not going to appeal it. We're going to leave it the way it is. And then we've got promised by the FIA, everything, the rules will be changed for next year. The rules. We won't have this debacle like we did at Abu Dhabi ever again. I was the first person to come out on Twitter. One of the first persons to voice my opinion. I've done a 20-minute video on my YouTube last year. I made this video and I said, what is going on with Mercedes? Why did Mercedes go all the way to the arbitration court? Listen, there was rumours going around that obviously the Mercedes board, they didn't want nothing to do. They didn't want to have this decision, this over them with the FIA. They didn't want to make no waves with the FIA. They wanted everything to be smooth. It's not really good for sponsors. That's the people in the board, the ones that sit there that you never see, the shareholders. They said, you know what? There's rumours that they weren't interested. Toto pulled out of it. You remember that video what Toto done? He was wearing the black suit. He looked like some gangster. Some Russian mafia, German mafia. And he was there and he looked really upset. He's like, he let Lewis down. But me, I still wasn't accepting that. And nor was the millions and millions and millions of Lewis Hamilton fans on Twitter. Now, my conspiracy theory is that the reason why Mercedes pulled out is because I think the FIA, the stewards, spoke to Toto. Because remember, Toto had a meeting with the FIA 24 hours after the incident in Abu Dhabi. I think the FIA said, look, I think that Red Bull, maybe they've gone over the cost cap. Maybe. And I think that Michael Massey told Toto, told the FIA to try and save his job, that he reckons that Red Bull went over the cost cap. And I reckon they promised Toto, listen, if you just let the process happen, let Max Verstappen get the title. Don't take us to court because he's not going to look good. Let Max Verstappen get the title, and come August, September, October, we'll start releasing statements about, you know, look, they've gone over the cost cap. And the rules, when you go over the cost cap, that the points will be removed from Red Bull and Lewis Hamilton will become world champion. This is what I think. This is my conspiracy hat. And this is why I reckon Mercedes and I reckon Toto pulled out of it. Because I knew this was coming down the train. Because all season, Lewis has been happy. Even though when he does his interviews, Toto's been happy. It's like the fact, hold on, mate, you just got screwed out of a world title. And why are you happy? And this is why I reckon was happy. They knew this was coming down the line. To me, the person what leaked it was Michael Massey. For 3 reasons. 1, to save his job. 2, if I'm going down, they're all coming down with me. Basically, if Red Bull go down, if I go down, which was Michael Massey, Red Bull's going down with me. And 3, to try and save his job. To try and get his job back down the road. Down the line. To give himself credibility. I think it was Michael Massey that leaked it. Leaked it to FIA at the beginning, and this is what's going to happen. They knew down the line this was going to come up with a cost cap, and then Red Bull was going to get exposed. That's because that's why Mercedes didn't take it to the arbitration court. And I reckon this was all sorted out in the room, in that meeting that Toto had with the FIA at the end of last season, when the last season finished. That's what I think. Now, today was qualifying. It was a good qualifying. Like I said at the beginning, Lewis Hamilton didn't get pole, but I think he can win the race tomorrow. They've got the car. The track is made for Lewis Hamilton. Pure downforce, and that's what, you know, when it comes to these tracks like Hungary and Monaco and tracks like that with very high downforce, this is where Mercedes kicks in. And everybody knows on race day, especially on the medium tires if it's dry, this is where Mercedes come alive. And that's it, man. It was a good qualifying. Very exciting. Singapore is a lovely track. Lovely place to go if you want to go on a holiday. I reckon I want to go there one day. And that's it, man. This is the end of the review. I just wanted to get that point out. That it's funny how Christian Horner now, like yesterday, within 24 hours, he was all confident. 24 hours later, what now? Now he's panicking. Now he's talking about suing certain F1 teams for leaking the information. Guilty conscience, man. So this is Solo P1 signing out. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button. The like is very important. That's probably the most important, just to get my video out there in the algorithm. And if you don't want to look at my ugly face on YouTube, go and hit me up on Spotify. I'm on Spotify. I'm on iTunes. I'm on Stitcher. I'm on Amazon Music. Go and hit me up on there. Hit the like button on there. So if you don't want to listen to me on YouTube, you can want to listen to me in the car or in the gym, or you just want to chill out, working out, you can listen to Solo P1 there. There's no problem. So this is Solo P1 signing out. See you later, guys. Bye.